Hi there, this is your friend Anna, and the question that I've been getting the most from all of my friends is what are we wearing? This age-old question isn't just about choosing an outfit, it's about choosing how we present ourselves to the world. I created the I Want Her Shoes podcast to dive deep into what it means to dress with intention, whether you're heading to a council meeting or just having a casual day out with your family. Join the conversation as we explore the power of personal style and the decisions that shape our public personas. Put on your favorite pair of shoes and step into my closet. Welcome back to I Want Her Shoes podcast, where we spotlight powerhouse women redefining what it means to lead, pivot, and reclaim power on their own terms. I'm your host, Anna Anisin, and today's episode is very different, actually, and it's special. It's not really about success and stilettos of feel-good glow-ups. It's about loss, transition, and the kind of courage it takes to rebuild when everything you knew starts to unravel. And this is the episode I never thought I'd record, and now I couldn't imagine not sharing it, and this one is personal. And today I sit down with Denise Rappaport Isaacs, Esquire, a leading South Florida divorce attorney and advocate who's helped thousands of women, and also men too, navigate breakups, breakdowns, and breakthroughs. And Denise doesn't just practice law, she helped rewrite it, which is amazing. From negotiating on New York's equitable distribution statute to championing women's rights, her career has shaped how families move through separation with clarity, dignity, and strength. And as I mentioned, she also represents men, so this episode is for everybody, right?
Yes.
And right now I'm actually going through my own divorce, so that's why this is such a personal episode. And we're having this conversation so many of us avoid about endings, legal realities, financial strategy, motherhood, identity, reinvention, and yes, what to wear when your world is falling apart. And this isn't just about paperwork, it's about power, it's about truth, and it's about women helping other women cross the hardest bridges with their heads high. Welcome, Denise.
Thank you.
It's so great to have you here. Oh. And I know that you came all the way from Boca and you had such a powerful career from shaping family law in New York to helping women navigate high-stake divorces here in Florida. What really drew you to this path? Tell us about your roots. Where did you grow up?
I grew up in Queens, New York, and I practiced there for about 10 years. And then I moved in the late 80s to Florida, and I've been practicing here ever since. I actually practice at this point, I'm practicing all over Florida.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
And what drew me to this? I come from Queens, okay? I had an aunt, not an aunt, but an aunt, okay? I know where I come from. And she went through a divorce when I was, about 10 years old. And I just wanted to help her because my uncle, her husband, just walked out on them and never found himself again, whatever, and rarely paid child support, or she had to go back to work. This was, I guess in the 60s. And I wanted to help her. And I was a kid. Whoever owned the item, whoever owned the house, name was on the title, name was on the car, name was on the bank account, name was on the investment. Whoever owned it got it. And yes, wow. There was alimony. But in 1981, I helped negotiate passage of the new equitable distribution law in New York. New York was a late adopting state. Florida already had equitable distribution. Equitable distribution means that you look at what you accumulated during the marriage and you divide it up. When it comes to the children, there are lots and lots of variations, but Florida 2 years ago said 50-50. Now you can carve that out. There's a whole bunch of things to do. There's a whole bunch of things we lawyers know how to make it better. And so that's kind of where I came from and how I got into family law. I just wanted to protect people, and that's what women come to me for, and that's what men come to me for. They want me to protect them.
Yeah, no, that's a beautiful story, and I like how it goes back to your family, and it's kind of a personal connection as well. And I know that, I mean, so many women stay in unhappy marriages because they fear the unknown. And I mean, I was one of those women. I definitely overstayed because just not, probably for me it was the kids mostly, like, and just having the kids is just a lot to handle, like doing the divorce at the same time. But what is your message to those kind of standing on the edge of that change, which is a very big change, life change? Right?
This is very personal. So the question is, how toxic, how bad is it, and how old are the babies, or what's going on in your life? Everyone doesn't have children. People get married all the time. They don't always have children. So the question is, what are your circumstances? Do you have the financial ability to be whole afterwards or half afterwards? Okay. And where are you at? Strategic planning is very important.
Right.
And on my social media site, which is Divorce Lawyer Denise, I tell people you need to have a safety pot. You need to have a safety amount of money that can hold you so that you can pay your bills, so that you can figure out what to do and you can pay your lawyers.
Yes, so that's really great advice. Yeah. And let's talk a little bit about stats, because as we know, divorce rates are really on the rise again, especially post 2020, the pandemic, right? So
I was busy during the pandemic. Can you imagine? People were like living together and they were moving out, even though there was the pandemic and we all had to worry we were going to be dead the next day. And I don't think that people have beliefs. Okay, people have beliefs about divorce, and that 50% of divorces or 60% of divorces, you're going to get divorced 50% of the time or 60% of the time. The Pew Institute does research on this.
Right.
And it used to be 50%, but it's less now. So it's 40%. And then I read, because I was doing research on this, that in the first 2 years, if you don't get divorced in the first 2 years, 20% of marriages, 20% of people get divorced in the first 2 years.
That makes sense. It's the hardest kind, right?
So if it's 40% and you take away and you live through the first 2 years, you have a 20% chance of getting divorced.
Yep.
It's so much better than it was.
Yeah, no, that's really great to hear, because I think a lot of people think it's much worse, right?
50, 60%. And
that's what I hear, 60%, right? Like, no, it's
not true. It's not true.
So yeah, so that is not true, which is great. And I know that you also focus on a lot of out-of-court settlements, and over 95% of your case settle amicably, which is really great. What is the secret to kind of protecting peace while protecting what's fair?
So let's talk about all the states. All the states now, almost all the states, have adopted mediation. So you go to mediation after you have all the financial facts and you know the case, you go to it. And why on earth? Only about less than 10% of people go have a judge decide it, because both of them are unreasonable and crazy, or one was unreasonable and crazy. And here we're talking about narcissists.
Right.
Okay, so, you want to divorce me? Everything I've done is fine. It's all you. And I'm gonna get you but good. I'm not gonna agree to anything. You say whatever you say, I say no. You want this, I say no, no, no. So you hear about the crazoids, but you don't know that everybody else after 90 days is settling, or after they get all the financial information, they settle, and you have to go to mediation.
Right.
And since you have to go to mediation, you just prepare and you go to mediation, and the mediator helps helps people to be reasonable.
What do you think really is a percentage of divorce that actually is peaceful, that no lawyer has to be involved in? From my experience, that's been luckily my experience, obviously talking to a lawyer, but not like involving a lawyer where we could peacefully talk about what's going to happen, so
Most people, as opposed to what people think, are reasonable and they work things out together. Sometimes there's like a little glitch here, they don't get along here, but then they get back to it and they settle. People are usually, eventually, they get to be very reasonable.
Yeah, unless you said it's like a narcissist situation where a person just really wants to be like mean and make a point that like
yes,
we're not.
Revenge.
Yeah, and let's maybe talk a little bit about that. Like, how do you get past that, or like, can you actually even get past that? Because I feel like that's very like, how can you change somebody's mind, right?
Okay, so you don't change their mind. Okay, you don't change their mind. What you do is you go to court. Mm-hmm. One person says, I want $10,000 a month in alimony. You have to pay it. You go to court, you have a little hearing, and the judge says, $3,500, go to work. The other person has lost. Then you can go to court again, have a little hearing, not a trial, a little hearing, and they've lost again. What's his first name?
Kevin Costner.
Kevin Costner. His wife was going after him. She was getting $150,000 a month in child support.
Wow.
And she wanted more. And she wanted to move here and she wanted more. Well, they had a hearing and the judge cut her down in half. $70,000, $79,000. And within 2 weeks, she settled with him. She was out for blood, but the judge did his job, told her that she's only getting whatever they're accustomed to, and that's it. And then she called her ex-husband, her soon-to-be ex-husband, and they settled. That's what happened. So the judge can put in a little reality, and the lawyers and the mediator can also put in a little reality. And people talk to their friends,
Right.
You have to accept the law. And your lawyer tells you the law, your friends tell you horror stories. And then most people settle. I wouldn't even say it's 95%. I'd say it's 98% with or without lawyers.
Right. No, that's great to hear as well. So see, that could be very positive. This doesn't have to be like a crazy situation, right?
Right. And I just have one other thing that I just have to tell you. I get calls, usually from women, okay? I get calls and their husbands want to take them to mediation without lawyers. Well,
what do we do?
Not good. You go and you have a consultation. You don't have a free consultation. You do not have a free consultation. You want somebody who's going to tell you and talk to you and give you proper advice. You don't want to talk to somebody on the telephone. What you want to do is you want to have a real consult, and then you know what you're giving up. It's like giving up alimony, giving up pensions, giving up, the husband in the last lady who called me, everything was in his name. So she was going to end up with nothing. And I could cry for her. Sometimes I have people, usually it's women, okay, who come into me who say that they signed it. They didn't want to fight anymore. They didn't want to fight anymore. All you have to do is a couple of months worth of focus, and being strong and having a lawyer. And then you settle for fairness.
Right.
And so the last one I couldn't set aside. The last one I could not set aside. But there are times that I have been able to set aside an agreement. But it's very rare. So make sure you go and speak to an experienced attorney who tells you what the law is in your state.
Yeah, no, that's great advice. And now this is a really good segue to talk about the 5 things that we need to know if we're divorcing in Florida or coming from New York.
Okay, or in any other state.
Yes, or in any other
anywhere
state.
Else.
Yeah.
So, what you have to do at the very beginning is you have to accumulate financial documents. You have to use your brain. You're in charge. If you've never been in charge before, this is the time that you are going to be in charge and you are going to find everything out. You are going to, instead of looking away, you're going to search the house. You're going to search everywhere, and you're going to come up with a whole bunch of insights, and you're going to write them down in an organized fashion, and then you're going to go after them. Lawyers, when you get into litigation, or you don't even get into litigation, you just file for divorce, they have subpoena powers. He wouldn't give you the bank accounts. He wouldn't give you the brokerage accounts. He wouldn't give you that crypto. Crypto's new, okay? And everybody thinks you can't find out about it. We can find out about all that crypto wallets and stuff. So that's what happens. You do your homework.
So that's number one.
Life depends on it, because you're going to be cut off from getting whatever it is, and from the two of you being together and dividing everything up. You want to protect yourself. So that's the difference. That's the difference between being married and divorcing. Okay, that's the first thing.
The first thing. So
Okay.
number two.
Focus. Don't fight over everything. Pots and pans, don't fight over everything. You need to fight over the things that are important, things that have longevity, so that you'll have more money, Okay, do you want to keep the house? Do you not want to keep the house? How much does the house cost per month? Can you afford it? Is it worth it? Is it going to appreciate? We don't know at this point, because after COVID, everything went up. But then again, everything 10 years before that went down. Who knows what's happening? You have to pick your battles, and you have to just focus on a couple of things so that you can get what you want. Okay.
Number three.
Number three is you know your enemy. Okay? You know how they think. You know what they value. So this is a perfect opportunity to start using your power. Power. You know what they want. Okay? I have lots of men who, what they want is they want their children 50% of the time. They want their children 50% of the time, and they'll bargain for everything. And it doesn't matter that the law says 50%. People are emotional, and they're more emotional during divorce. So you know how to bargain. And bargaining is the name of the game when it comes to divorce.
Yeah. No, I think that's amazing. And then what about number four now?
Everyone says lawyers are so expensive. Not having a lawyer can be even more expensive. But you need to know how to deal with lawyers. So what you need to do is you need to organize. You don't send January's bank statements and then send this and then send that, and you don't email them and call them up a million times. No, you organize yourself, and you send it strategically, because every interaction costs moolah, okay?
That's right.
And you want to cut down, and you also are being in control. And then I also want to say, okay, that you need to, if you didn't know anything, I didn't know anything, he paid all the bills, I didn't know anything. Who cares? That was last week. This week, you want to know everything, and you are in charge. You are stepping up. You are not going to take the traditional role anymore. You are in charge of yourself, and you are going to stand up, and you are going to organize everything, and you're going to look at every single piece of paper and know what it contains, because your lawyer has multiple clients. We need you. We need you to tell us what to do. We need you to notice that $39.42, where is it going? You never heard of it before. Or that $200 that's going to an account that we don't know anything about. You need to be Sherlock Holmes, Ms. Okay?
Or Mr., right? I mean, for me, it's a different situation. I pay all the bills and I take care of everything. So my husband is on the other side. So he's the one that needs to look into this. But he's kind of trusted me for 10 years to take care of all the finances. So I think it could go either way, right?
And that trust is going to continue.
Yes, and I'm still taking care of the finances, even though we're not together anymore, because that's going to take some time to split up, because I have a complicated situation and kids and everything. But I think that what I'm trying to say is it doesn't have to be the woman. It could be the other way around. It could be a different situation too. So, but the bottom line is that you do need to be educated of what's going on, I think, especially if you're not involved in finances. My mom was never involved in those things, and I think you should be, because you should know what's going on. Like even if you're not paying the bills,
True.
it's important. So
What do you find is the most difficult aspect of, like, starting the divorce or being, in the process?
I mean, I think for me, it's really just because being with somebody for so long and having assets and kids together and everything, right? Like, I think it's more of like the emotional divorce first, right? Like the separation of the relationship first, but everything else, I think if you have a good relationship and it's a calm separation, then that we could take care of that later, as long as we have like a strong, like we're not in drama, we're strong, like we agree that we should not be together. It's like a happy separation, which luckily we've had, and it's better for the kids. We know that we're not good together. We're always fighting, So I think, like once that decision was made, then the other stuff wasn't as important, because there's trust there still. Like, I'm not gonna not, take care of him, or, I'm not like kicking him out of the house right away, and I mean, there's time, it's respect, all of that stuff.
That's very important.
Yeah, but I think if you don't have that, though, that's where it gets complicated on either side, even if it's a woman that's the breadwinner or the man, right? Because, and I think the men, I mean, I don't want to like say men are different than women, but from what I've seen, like men sometimes might not be as nice as I am. Like, what I mean? They're not going to let you stay in the house for a few months or for a while or whatever, because they might already be seeing somebody else, or they already moved on so quickly, right? Like, so I think like, it might be a little bit different. So I think, again, it just depends on the relationship that you had before too, right? With your partner. So.
And that trust is so important.
Yeah.
And it shows that you are honorable and trustworthy, and it will inure to the rest of your relationship and to the children.
Yeah, exactly. Well. And it's very important. I think when you have kids, that changes everything too. And I think, again, from the male side too, I think I hope that they want to take good care of the mom of their children, right? And that's what I want to do. I want to take good care of the father of my kids, right? So, and I think that's what you really have to feel, and just have a mutual agreement. But again, I don't think that always exists, though.
It doesn't. First, there's the 10% crazoids, and then under that, there's like, in 25% of the cases, forget about the 10%, but in 25% of the cases, there's difficulty. But the good thing to know is that most divorces have a beginning, a middle, and an end. And both people become good to themselves and act civilly. And I know you were talking about not having lawyers. I think it's very important to have advice.
Yes, definitely advice. We have advising lawyers, but not like somebody that we need to like have litigation with. But we do have advising lawyers and such for contracts and all of that stuff. And
right.
I did have a prenup and everything, as you can imagine, so.
Yes.
But there's still, doesn't matter if you have a prenup, because you still have to negotiate something after that. Because if you're married for almost 10 years, you still have you have assets that you have together, everything, like we share a lot of things, so.
I consider myself the queen of prenups and postnups.
So yeah, so let's talk, a little bit about that, because I think, what are some common mistakes women make early in the process, and how can that be avoided? Because, I mean, some people say that it's bad to have a prenup because like the trust thing, right? Like, why would you even have one? But I think like when you get into a situation when you have kids and assets, like I think that's kind of, you have to have that. Right? Because people die. Like, what if you die, and if you don't, where does all that go, right? Like, so you need to have those things. But let me know what you think about that, because again, I've heard different things.
Okay. Here's the secret.
I know. What is the secret, Denise?
The secret is that when you get married, you already have a prenup, but you just didn't know about it.
Oh, okay. So there you go. So what
ignorant. Okay. Every state has laws that when you get divorced, this is what happens. That's a prenup. So the question is, do you think state law is fair? So maybe the two of you need to discuss it. Not maybe, you have to discuss it. I think that having a prenup helps to keep the marriage together. I think it keeps people from having these disastrous financial arguments. Who's paying what? This is what you have. This is what I have. There's so many permutations of money. And if you know what your spouse is worth, that's important. It's important in terms of who's going to make the decisions in the future. And then the worst part of it is the debts. Are you marrying a gambler? Does she have a couple of $100,000 medical debt from illness, or from going to medical school or law school where they owe a ton of money?
The student debt, right? That's like crazy for some people, right? If you go to law school or medical school.
It is. It could be hundreds of thousands of dollars. Times what? 18%?
Jeez.
It turns out to be a burden on the couple.
Right.
And you
already
right
in the beginning. That's not good,
When they're earning the least, So, prenups are, I think everybody should have a prenup. Everyone should know what they're getting into. They should know the law in their state, and they should know what the other person has and is paying, so that they'll know. There are people who, I have lots of cases where one person has lots of money and buys lots and lots of watches and cars and this and that, uses up all the money. So there's not much left.
Yeah.
And
so what do you do in that sense? Do you have to sell all that stuff, or what do you do? If you literally just spent all your money and there's nothing to be split up, it's just a bunch of watches and cars, and there's not even assets, it's just things like purses and
purses,
jewelry. And what do you do with all those things? I mean, unless you have Birkins,
Even Birkins, you can live for a couple of months on half of a Birkin, because you have to split the financial money down the half. So you can live for a year and a half. Where is the financial safety in that?
Okay, so now let's talk a little bit about, we talked about a lot of different things, making the decision, the prenup, even before you get married. What about reinvention? What are some of the first steps to reclaiming your identity after the marriage ends? Because I think that is something people have a really hard time with. So if you want to talk a little bit about it first, and then I will give a little bit of my perspective.
First, now you're in charge of your own life. Now you have to figure out how much you need to live on and how much you're going to be getting. And if you have to make any changes, you need to rely on your friends and your family. Let me rephrase that. You need one good friend. Do not say bad things about the other spouse to anybody else. You keep your mouth shut, because anything that you say is going to come back to you. Maybe you don't want to say anything bad about your spouse to your parents or your brothers and sisters, because they're never going to forgive them. Never, ever forgive. So don't tell them. But you have a trusted friend. Tell your trusted friend and work it out.
Tell your bestie, vent to the bestie, but don't say it in front of your kids. Don't say anything bad, because it's just not good vibes. And again, you should have a good relationship with even if you don't right away, you should develop a new relationship.
Work on it, right?
Work on it, yeah.
But it's going to come back to haunt you. If you say bad things about the other person, I don't care what they did. I don't care what they did. You need to keep your mouth shut and go on and
be your fabulous self, right?
Yes. And so tell us about being a fabulous self after.
Well, yeah, I mean, for me, I really kind of, as I said, stayed in the marriage for, just overstayed in it. We haven't been in the same rooms for years and stuff. So for me, I feel like I've already been kind of transitioning out of the marriage. And when I actually ended the marriage, I was already over the marriage, so I've already moved on, and I've talked to a therapist. I've been thinking about this for quite some time, for years. Probably it's been 2 years that I've been trying to make the decision. So, and I've made the decision, I worked through it, and then I came to my ex-husband now to tell him that, and he was not ready or anything at all for this, right? So I think that is something people need to also think about, that one person might be way further ahead of healing than the other one, right? So, but I mean, I feel very fabulous. Like, I feel for me it was the right decision, so I don't feel like, for me, it's not like a hard start. I feel like fresh. I feel like it's a new start. It's a leap forward, you know. And I also think it is the same for him. I really wish him the best, and I think he has a lot. He's only 39. He has like his whole life ahead of him. So I think for both of us, it's like a positive new beginning, right? So, but I think it's not always like that. So I think for a lot of people, it's really like hard to kind of start over. So
yes, but I want to know, in terms of your recreation of yourself. I mean, I don't know if you all could see this, but I came in here and whoa, you know. So
yeah,
did you do this after, or did you do this before and then you just built it up?
I've always had it. I mean, I've always had it, you know. It's kind of been part of me, but in the last year, I really went for what I wanted to do, and I started this podcast, really. And
Yes.
I made this all look like really beautiful, so it could be part of the set. And that's when I already knew I was getting divorced, right? Like, I already knew that I was going to be not married, and I was already doing things I love.
Like what?
Like the podcast. Like, I just did it in March, and now, gosh, this is episode 57.
Wow.
Yeah, so I've talked to 57 amazing women, and, you know, shared their stories, and we just hit 200,000 downloads, which is amazing. We're number 5 on Apple and Spotify, and we have thousands of 5-star reviews. So I feel like that was part of my like finding myself, right? Even though I was still in my marriage, but I was like emotionally disconnected from it. So I started doing what I love, and here we are today, right? And now I'm sharing my story about this because I want people to know that you can actually, you know, be in a positive relationship with your ex-husband or ex-wife, or you can start over in a positive way. It doesn't have to be negative, and you can do things you love still. Like, you're not going to be left out on the street or whatever. Yeah, and I think that's the fear that most women have, right?
Right. And you took charge. Okay, you took charge. You looked inside yourself. You knew what you thought was important and what you enjoyed. And then this is sort of, it's enhancing yourself, but it's also giving back. You know?
Exactly. No, like, I'm all about that. Yeah, like, my experience giving back to others and just elevating people's voices and just, you know, like, really being that way. And I feel like that relationship was holding me back from doing that, really. You know what I mean? Because he, again, things are great, but he didn't listen to my podcast until I ended the marriage. Can you believe that? I mean, but that just gives you an idea of how disconnected we were. Now he's listened to everything, but, you know, and we're building a friendship, and it's a really nice, you know, new relationship, right? It's a different relationship that we've had, but, you know, like, it's, for sure, it's been really a learning experience. So.
Yes. And it's going to continue to be.
Yeah, exactly. And I think, you know, we kind of already talked a little bit about shame or embarrassment. And I think I still had it though, like, 'cause some of the friends I told, I haven't heard from. Do you know what I mean? Like, it is just the way it is. Like, because some people don't like divorce. They think it's whatever. It's not for them. They don't want to associate with it, but it's my decision, right? So, and
Yes.
it should be your decision. It's for you. It's not for the other person. It's for you.
And these are not people who you now want in your life, or these are people who you look back on and you see what they weren't, you know, and what they...
Exactly, yeah. And I think that's a lot of also people forget that sometimes, like, you have the same circle of friends.
And,
yeah,
you know, they have the same children, the same age, and you play
Exactly.
together and you socialize together. Now, all of a sudden, it's just you. And they want it to be this way, and it wasn't you that they valued. It wasn't the interpersonal relationship. It was spending time doing stuff which doesn't add to your life, you know? These are not friends.
Yeah, no, and I think that's a really great point. I think the people who are not there for you in these kind of situations is, you know, they're not your people. in the first place. So, and you'll always find your circle too, especially if maybe your circle, because I also hear that sometimes the circle goes with like one spouse or the other, right? So, and I think that's when people are kind of left in that like situation where they're like, what do I do now?
It's hard. It's hard, which is why you need your family and your friends, why you need your old friends and you make new friends. It changes your social circle, and it's hard. It's just
it is. It's hard. It's part of like one of the biggest life transitions like in your life. But yeah, like out of anything, right? Illness, divorce, child birth, all of that. Yeah, it's one of the biggest.
But it's not as hard as living a false life. It's not as hard as feeling like you're abused and you can't voice and you can't be yourself. So that's one of the things that I'm talking because I have friends, I have family, I've divorces, and I've been doing divorces for 46 years. So I know all about this. But even though I've been married for 45 years, I know this from my heart, okay? And people blossom, you know. It takes a while to take control of your own life. It takes a while to say, what is going to make me happy? What do I want to do? What is going to be productive for me? And to just focus on yourself, which is something that people in long-term marriages or short-term, mid-term marriages don't do. They don't like reevaluate their life, which means that you can just move on and thrive.
Right. Yeah. No, I mean, I think that's beautiful. That's awesome. I love that. And now let's talk about style a little bit, since we are in my closet and you look fabulous. What do you suggest if people are going to show up for mediation in a courtroom with confidence? How should you dress?
Like you're going to church.
Yes, all like in a turtleneck, all black.
Yeah. No cleavage, no short skirts. You need, if you're going to court, you're usually going for litigation purposes, and you want the judge to think that you are a responsible person. And how do you show that? You know, everybody has going out clothes, not
your
going
work
out
clothes, your business casual clothes.
Exactly.
There you go.
I remember I was in court, and the woman had 6 children, but
you don't see that often these days, right?
No, and this was a while ago. And so, you know, I'm there, I'm ready to walk into court, and she shows up and she's wearing short shorts. Short shorts. I just looked at her and...
Let's cancel this now!
Well, it's a good thing that we weren't litigating, we were just getting her divorced, because that was shocking. And most people are smart. You know you're smart. You're asking the question, what should I wear? And you need to look.
Forget, right?
Yeah.
So no short shorts, no cleavage, nothing like that.
Right.
Good tips. And what about your personal style though? How has it evolved besides your career, maybe in the last couple of years?
Not only divorce changes your life. Sometimes you reach a point in time where you're ready to spend time. I know this sounds crazy, but I didn't care for a couple of decades. And then all of a sudden, as a teenager, in my 20s, I really cared. But when I was a lawyer at like 26, I was wearing, you know, black, gray, navy blue with a tie. You had to have a tie, you know, and I don't know. I just got up.
You have to send us some of those fabulous photos from back then if you have some. With the tie, I would love to see that. So vintage.
Oh God. So now I just have gone into my garage. Everything, all my silk, beautiful suits that I bought in the interim were put in boxes in the garage, and I brought them out and I thought, oh, this is so beautiful. This is so beautiful. I have the same style, but now I actually care about putting it together. So what can I tell you? I grew my hair. Okay, I grew my hair. Red lipstick is new, and I'm
Good
feeling.
for you.
I'm feeling.
Fabulous.
Yeah.
See, you can change. You can do a little style change anytime, or you can just pick things out that you haven't seen for a long time too. I think that's all about. We're all about sustainability.
Yes.
Reuse, recycle, all of that. Well, for those women listening who are just too afraid to ask for divorce, but they know it's the right thing in their gut, what advice would you give them? And then I will, give my comment as well.
The question is, what's the pain threshold? On a day-to-day basis, when is it enough? This is something that only an individual can get to the point where they know that enough is enough and they can't take it anymore. And then there are people who say, oh, I'll just say, I have people that I know who have stayed till the children left the house, till they went to college. Okay, I understand that. Lots of people do that. But then I have other people who had enough. The line was crossed. They couldn't do it anymore. And if they thought, oh, I have to stay for the children, what are they showing the children? They're showing the children that a bad relationship is how you have a life. And so you are hurting your children by staying in a bad marriage, And I just have one other thing to say, okay? I think that when things are going bad at the beginning, you need to go to couples therapy at the beginning, not at the end where it's
too hard already to recover.
Yes.
Yeah, no, that's great advice. And I mean, from my perspective, I think again, I would never stay till the end because my parents were not really happy. They always were in different rooms and they just stayed married, and I kind of came from that kind of household, and I would never do that myself because I feel like it definitely didn't really paint a good picture for a relationship for me and my brother. But also I want the kids to be happy, and see good relationships, like having us both having good partners, right? Like positive, not seeing fights or people sleeping in different rooms or, just having that weird vibe. So, I think, again, in my experience, the kids, are much happier when there's no fights and it's just there's no tension in the air. But again, everybody has a different story and everybody makes different decisions. But for me, I'm all about living life and, I'm an entrepreneur. I've started many businesses and I take risks, right? So, and it is a risk, obviously, getting a divorce, right? But I took that risk because for me, already now I see the rewards, right? So even though it is, I think, a risk for anybody, right? I think for me it was worth it to do it. So, and I think everything works out for a reason and will come together for you, if you manifest it. So, yeah. But, well, now let's get into this fun little this or that part of this, okay. Denise's edition. So mediation or full trial? I think we covered that, but...
Mediation,
yes. Clarity or closure? I guess both.
Both,
for sure. Sharp blazer or silk scarf power move? Both. I could see those two together for you. Prenup now or never again?
Oh no, prenups every single time.
But what about those people? Let's go. Just one more question about the prenup. What about people that do it after they get married? I feel like it's
a postnup.
It's a postnup. Okay, so what does that mean? Let's talk. We did not mention a postnup.
It means usually there is a prenup that gives one person nothing. So they get married and then they live together for a while and they keep thinking about it and thinking, I'm going to get nothing. What's going to happen when I'm 50? What's going to happen when I'm 70? I'm going to be thrown out. I'm going to live under a bridge. And so people renegotiate. They renegotiate.
So that's like a renegotiation of your original prenup, pretty much.
So that sometimes there's a have and a have-not. The have-not wants to have financial security. And so there needs to be a renegotiation.
Got it. So yeah, no, that's really good information as well. All right, well, go gray or get highlights?
Highlights.
Highlights, yes. Cry in the
I
car.
like still keeping blonde instead of gay, you know?
Cry in the car, cry on the yoga mat. Not cry at all.
Cry everywhere.
Or cry everywhere. Actually, crying
everywhere.
is good. It's good to release your, emotions and stuff. I think you feel definitely better after. Signature scent or new signature shoe? I mean, you know what my answer is.
Yes, shoes too.
Yay, shoes. Block his number or co-parenting?
Co-parenting, and you do the co-parenting apps.
Yes, and there's apps for that. Oh, you'll have to share your favorites with those because I didn't even know that.
Our Family Wizard is it is an app that is so helpful. It's so helpful. It maintains the communication. It allows for people who are not getting along so well, or if they're not getting back. It shows everything, and it is reliable.
Okay, well, we're gonna have to share that. Thank you for that tip again. Book a solo trip or redecorate the house?
It depends where you're at.
I'm
Sometimes
redecorating the house.
Sometimes you need the private time away, but sometimes you need a new environment, you know?
Sure, totally. Keep the dress or donate it with a ritual. Yeah, that's like what do we do with the dress now?
Well, generally speaking, my clients would donate it because it doesn't fit them anymore, and they're into new fashion and new lives, and they don't want to wear sweatshirts and baggy pants anymore.
Yeah, got it. Well, Denise, thank you so much for bringing your unshakable grace, legal brilliance, and fierce compassion to the I Want Her Shoes community. You've helped shape the law, but more importantly, you've also helped shape the lives of so many women and also men moving through one of the life's hardest
50%
transitions.
of my practice is men.
Yeah.
50% is women and 50% is men. Everything is balanced. You know?
I like it. I think that should be the way it should be. And to everybody listening, I know this episode is tender, raw, and maybe triggering for some of you, but here's what I hope it reminds you, that your story doesn't end when the marriage does. You are not your relationship status, ladies. You're not. You are who you are. You are your own person. And reinvention is always on the table, even if it's covered in tissues and takeout containers right now, because some of us need a little alone time too when you're going through this. And whether you're in it through it or supporting someone who is going through this conversation is your permission to slip, to start again, and with strength, with style, and with shoes that carry you toward the woman that you're becoming. Please share with everybody going through this right now, or who is not sure about this, you know who those ladies are, or men. Share this episode. But your strategy is your sanity. Your lawyer is your lifeline. Denise is a good one if you need one. And your presence is your power, even if you're in rubble. And we're walking this one together, ladies, and I'm here for you as someone who's also going through this. Leave comments. I'm here to talk. And we'll see you next time. And happy Valentine's Day. I know some of you are going to be celebrating it alone. And it's all about Galentine's this year. Cheers. So much fun. That was amazing. And now I'm going to ask you to pick a pair of shoes that best represents you, and I'm going to take a nice little photo of you with them. It's kind of hard, right? It's a lot, but I want to see what
size are you?
I am between like 8 and 9. I mean, you don't have to try them on. We'll just take a picture with you like holding them so it represents like, kind of the vibe that you are. So let's see. Are you going to go for red, pink? What is your color, Denise? Ooh, leopard print. No. I have a little bit more over here.
Pointy toes.
Pointy toes.
Pointy toes.
Well, I have these that are super pointy. And there's a few other ones that are pointy. And then we have these black ones, Dolce & Gabbanas, that are pointy toes too.
Oh. Okay, we're not on, right?
We are on, yeah.
Oh.
Well, we're not live or anything, so.
Okay.
Take your time, it's all good. Those are cute. You like those? Yeah, those are really cute.
I like these.
All right, well, let's take a picture.